Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivecchio's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivecchio, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University. Hello, welcome to Parrot TV's The Foreign Policy Review, and I am Dustin Pickering with co-hosts Carlo Parcelli and Billy Bob on the show with us today. Today's guest is Charles McKelvey in Cuba. He's not with us right now, but we're going to give it some time, and hopefully he'll show up and be available to discuss today's topic, which is the Marx and Maga. We're going to discuss sort of like forming a coalition here, or is this even possible to form a coalition with the Trump supporters in their base? So let's put up with Carlo and let's get these guys going on here. And how are you guys doing today? So, what's up, Billy Bob? First, put a case forward for Maga and Marx. See what he has to say.
Yeah, I don't think we really have another choice but to, attempt to, reach out to the working class. I mean, we have no choice except to reach out to them where they're at. The whole MAGA communism is a very divisive and controversial topic. Charles, he's in Cuba. He seems like a pretty good expert. I've been reading his articles on Substack. And to me, they're very compelling, very thoughtful, and I'm really hoping he can get on here shortly to discuss these things with us. He said he tried the Firefox browser and he was having trouble with Firefox. I recommended maybe trying the Chrome browser to access the studio, but he may or may not be able to join us. But yeah, as far as MAGA communism goes, the topic. The word itself, MAGA communism, seems counterintuitive, right? Because, obviously, Trump himself is a rabid anti-communist, right? He hates communism. He's always denouncing communism. But he kind of represents a movement that is just really disgusted and sick with the status quo, and the people are rightly, disgusted and sick with the status quo, but they're confused, right? They don't understand, what the issues are and why the status quo is so awful. And a lot of them have been fooled into thinking that Trump is the answer, right? And they think that Trump is the answer. So, and of course he's not. He's not the answer. But what we need to do is an outreach and inform them and help them to better understand reality, and to get on board with a concrete platform of doing just that, of making America work for the people and not just a small handful of elite, of financial elites, which is the status quo, which they're sick of. So, there's no choice. Like, I mean, the left, communism, Marxism, it's totally dead in this country. And that's why, for me, I reject those people that say, no, you can't reach out to the working class that support Trump, that support Make America Great Again. You can't reach out to them because they're they're too confused, or you're going to destroy our movement, right? But guess what? I mean, the movement is destroyed. Our movement is literally non-existent. And so it's ridiculous that people are thinking they're going to save some movement by making sure that other people don't reach out to these a lot of times backwards thinking individuals. But it's a very complex and complicated issue. And again, I wish we would have somebody who I consider an expert, on the topics to better do a better defense that I'm doing right now of the thought process and the approach of MAGA communism. But I know Carlo is one of the detractors of the MAGA communism, and he could probably give us a lot of reasons why he is against the idea.
I mean, how do we reconcile?
I'm not against it. Wait a minute. I'm not against the idea. You can go ahead and do it. I have two things to say. One is, let me go on record as saying it's one of the most stupid things I've ever heard. Number two, go out and do it. Go out and do it. It's like I put on my site. I said, look, I live in the Washington, D.C. area. If any Marxist wants to link up with me and get a table, we can get a bunch of Marxist-Leninist literature and go to MAGA conferences where I can travel, because I'm an old man. I can't, I'm not going to go to, California to do this. But and we'll set up a table and we'll see what happens, because none of you people have done that yet. Nobody's even approached that. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. All it boils down to is this propaganda, basically, this nonsense, really, that's been put out by Haz al-Din. He's sort of at the center of this MAGA thing. Well, he's already there. He's already a DNA fascist. And he's fascist. He wears these wife beater T-shirts. We had Assetar Bear on, Dr. Assetar Bear. Well, Assetar Bear was on, so I went to do research. So I found a discussion between Dr. Bear and Haz. And all Haz did was he had a screen where he had quotes up. And he read the quotes like he had memorized them. And all the quotes were ended with questions. So it was theoretically a question for Dr. Bear. So Dr. Bear would start to answer him, and Haz would leap in and interrupt him with another quote and another question, and call him names in between. And that's the way the whole debate went on for over an hour. And I felt bad for Dr. Bear, because you can't argue with psychopaths. You can't argue with people that are so poorly socialized, like Haz, who goes on his podcast and talks about how women won't approach. He can't get any women. Of course you can't. They can read. You're a social cripple. They can see what a social cripple you are. You're a mental case, And so I'm watching Ben Norton the other day, and he has a young journalist on. His name is Marlon Ettinger. He's a legitimate independent journalist. He's done some fine work. And he went to a libertarian conference where Haz gave us a talk. Why anybody would give him a microphone and a podium is beyond me, outside of Titicut Follies or some insane asylum, because the guy is nutty as the day is long. So Ettinger has to go to the bathroom, and he realizes that Haz is following him. So rather than have him follow into the bathroom, he turns around and he says, yeah, can I help you? And Haz goes, didn't you call me such and such? I can't remember the name, idiot, psychotic dweeb, or whatever he called him. And Ettinger owned up to it. He said, yeah, I suppose I did. And so Haz says, I should punch you out right now. Well, this young woman who was who was one of the people who were helping keep the conference together, she seemed to work on the floor, as way explained. She got in between Haz and Ettinger, and she tried to make calm Haz down. Well, Haz started pushing her around. She was a 5-foot woman, so according to Ettinger, a tiny woman. And he started pushing her around. Haz started pushing her around. So security was called. And then Haz goes, Ettinger, that guy, he tried to stab me. Well, Ettinger didn't try to stab me. He didn't have a knife on him. Ettinger's not there to stab people. This is a psycho. And this is what it's all based on, the thoughts of a psycho. And I just, I'm going, why did I fucking waste all this time and gab on something that's first never been tried, and nobody seems to have the balls to try it. My offer's still out there. Anybody want to contact me, we'll do it, okay? We'll set up a table at a MAGA conference, and we'll put Marxist-Leninist material on the table, and you can profess when they come up what you're doing, and let's see what the reaction is. Now, with my experiences on Breitbart, you're going to get death threats. That's what's going to happen to you. You're going to get death threats because I get death threats for pointing out simple truths to those fucking assholes on Breitbart, which brings us to another thing about dealing with these people, the MAGA people. Our guest today, he tries to claim that one of the deficiencies of the connecting with these people is we treat them as though they're idiots. They are idiots. They are idiots. I've gone on Breitbart for years. These people are idiots. They can't even distinguish reality from fantasy. I'll give you my core example. My core example is, and I like to taunt them. I have to admit, it's like, it's like taunting a cat with a little light, and getting them to run around the room. It's one of the arguments I posed was I just put out there that the military they were all against global climate change. Now let's face it, the libertarians against global climate change, and that's one of the connections that Ahaz has with the libertarians. He's against global climate change. The one of the people giving a speech at that conference said that the planet. This is the libertarians for you. This is how that the planet could support 7 trillion human beings. 7 trillion. Hobbes is rolling over in his grave. Woo! Woo! He's spinning in his grave. So 7 trillion. How stupid is that? How stupid are you? So it's global climate change. So get back to Breitbart. And I posed, so they were going against global climate change. All their snide little remarks and, Inhofe's snowball in Congress and everything they accepted as at face value. All that crap. So I said, well, the U.S. military, they're actually concerned about global climate change. Wow. Did I get a firestorm? Holy shit. Oh, but I'm setting them up. I already have them. I already thought this through. I'm 8, I don't play shit like chess. I'm 8 steps ahead of them. I already had 14 articles from the Military Times prepared to send them where the military, in the Military Times, talks about how the military is strategically concerned about global climate change. Crossing the Arctic, where the ice melts and getting the oil and all that crap that they're talking about. They're concerned about it. So I put up these 14 articles. Well, what do I get? I get death threats. Death threats. You sound like a commie. And that's the other thing. I'm going to come and kill you. That's the other thing I want to say about this supposed grassroots movement. MAGA's not a grassroots movement. It's no more a grassroots movement than Perestroika was, or that Solidarity in Poland was, or the Tea Party was here. It's financed by wealthy people. They want to get everything deregulated. Another libertarian, they believe in private property. So we're going to have a Marxist party that believes in private property. In fact, our guest today, who hasn't shown him, McKelvey, says, yes, we have to consider private property. And then as we go along, it will dwindle and all of that. Yeah, dream on, buddy. Those people will gun you down before they'll give up their private property, and they'll certainly gun you down. You're getting away of them trying to acquire more of it. So this social, it's a grassroots movement, is full of shit. I mean, Peter Thiel, the Scaife Foundation, of course, the Koch brothers, and hundreds of others. So as I'm doing a little research for the show, I remember that Mike Flynn, who's huge in MAGA, probably second only to Trump. Well, he had a mentor. The mentor's name was General Jack Singlaub. I don't know if any of us, our viewers, have heard of General Jack Singlaub, but he was a big Iran-Contra figure. He was in cahoots with John Hall in Costa Rica, and they were sending They were sending guns down to the Contras and bringing drugs, cocaine, heroin back up from Colombia to the United States. And Singlaub was the head of something called WACL. WACL. You know what WACL stands for? WACL? The World Anti-Communist League. So their whole purpose in life is to kill commies. Jorge Posada Carriles, we're talking about Cuba. Jorge Posada Carriles brought down a Cuban jet with 76 people on it, a civilian jet liner. And murdered 76 people. And that's not the only murder he was involved in. He was involved in Operation Mongoose and all the other attempts to destabilize the Cuban government and assassinate Cuban officials and all of that. And that's Jack Singlaub, and he's Mike Flynn's big hero. In fact, when Mike Flynn was under investigation by the Justice Department, Trump's Justice Department of all things, Singlaub wrote a letter to the Attorney General at the time. I can't remember, the little fat guy. His name went out of my head because I'm working here. I can't remember his name, and I should. I'm not that old, but anyway, he wrote a personal letter in defense of Flynn. So this is not a grassroots movement. This is a movement of wealthy, powerful people. The people, the organization that I'm talking about not Flynn, but that Singlaub was involved in, was founded by Phyllis Schlafly. If you don't know who Phyllis Schlafly is, you should go look her up, because she's another right-wing anti-feminist cretin. She reminds me of Jean Kirkpatrick, who founded the CSIS. That's another think tank that's heavily involved. Rand Corporation, Hudson Institute, all these people, they're all supplying material, thought material and everything, and they're all supported by these huge wealthy foundations that are backed by these billionaires, and their sole purpose is to maintain their power. They don't give a rat's rectum about the MAGA people. They set them up all the time. They set them up on January 6th. And so if you had any grassroots to approach, I'd like to see it. That you don't have. These people are not confused. These people are delusional. They're delusional, and they are stupid, and they are idiots. Frankly, you got to face the fact sometimes that in this country of 330 million people, most of them don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. I'll say one more thing, and this will sort of be in defense of the MAGA people. I have close friends, but one of them has a law degree and a PhD. The other one has a PhD. One worked for the Congressional Record, and the other runs an English department at a university here in the Washington, D.C. area. He's the head of the English department. I've had arguments with them about Ukraine. They absolutely refuse to learn anything about Ukraine. I can go 3 or 4 months and we'll talk again about it. They still haven't looked up what the Maidan coup was in 2014. They don't know what the Minsk Accords are. They still don't know. They refuse to know, but they still feel like they can speak with some authority on the subject matter. So I'm just saying, the MAGA people are not the only delusional people out there. With the 332 million people that live in this country, there's probably 9 of us that really know what we're talking about. Maybe 8, because it was a bad week for me. But somebody passed away who knew what he was talking about. But I'm telling you, this is the most stupid thing I've heard. Any comments, Dustin? Want to add anything?
Well, I was going to ask Billy Bob. It doesn't that a lot of the MAGA crowd is more reactionary, and the grassroots aspect of it, the appeal that Trump has to this, this underground of working class people. A lot of them are, when you say they're frustrated with the status quo, well, a lot of them perceive the status quo to be essentially left-leaning. They think that communism is already here or is being imposed already. And so I'm wondering how you would reconcile that particular aspect that current in that movement with appeal to them as a communist or a Marxist Leninist to discuss with them the prospect of moving the country forward in that direction.
I mean, the capitalists rule by propaganda, soft power, misinformation, flooding the echo chamber with different narratives, right? So yeah, there's a narrative that says communism is already here. The Democrats are communists, right? Biden's a communist. So I mean, and some people believe that because again, they've been totally propagandized and rendered ignorant by the messaging that they've passively absorbed just by living in this country, growing up in this country. So what I think any kind of outreach is going to kind of try and explain things to this group of people. So I did link in our comments here. That's a video of Haas actually going to a MAGA rally and doing what Carlo's urged him to do, kind of, so he did. It was an edited video, but he has the working class at these rallies, essentially supporting Marxism and Marxist slogans. Again, I think it's inevitable. Like I don't think there's any way forward without reaching out to the vast majority of the working class, and so. I think there's legitimate criticism. There's legitimate observations about how difficult that's going to be due to the, almost overwhelming indoctrination that many people have been subjected to.
I'm going to ask you to make a donation to my campaign for re-election. But first, let me explain why I need your support.
So that's an ad before the Haas video, right?
What do you think about this new idea?
Okay, that's a good idea.
Which a lot of MAGA people are coming around.
Just hang in there, folks.
Crazy, but they're calling it MAGA communism.
We're not
to fight the corporate
we're
socialism.
not supporting anybody in this.
Like
in
I said,
election.
that is what the left is saying. They make it up. They everything.
You're not getting it. Okay, so I'm making up something that isn't real, and you wouldn't know if you were terminally online. This isn't a real thing.
Dustin, I think that's the wrong.
To use this phrase.
That's the wrong video.
It's probably confusing to you.
I put up the wrong link. That's a link.
If you also hate the elites, the globalists, and
let's see what happens here.
Did
you send the wrong video?
Yeah, that's the wrong video.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll pause it here.
And it looked spectacular for a while. Now, you may have heard of Maga.
There we go. Okay.
It's my bad. I posted. It looks like I posted a video of somebody talking about this, and it's not just this. So I meant to post just the video that you're seeing in that video, but that's the wrong video. That's obviously somebody commenting on that. So I wasn't prepared to show the video, but I just looked for it while we were talking earlier. But yeah, I posted the wrong link. I can
play it.
Okay, let me
find it.
Let me see.
Here we are. Just send it to me. I'll put it back up on there. So yeah, we're getting prepared here to play a video of exactly what we're talking about, the outreach from Marxists to MAGA crowd, and see what we have found amongst these guys, what kind of questions and answers we get from the...
Herschel Walker's not the only deadbeat dad we've had in America. We had another deadbeat dad, and Dustin knows him quite well. His name was Walt Whitman. He claimed to have six to eight illegitimate children. He couldn't name one of them, never sent any of them a penny, didn't know where they were, and never had any contact with them. Now, of course, he was lying because he was gay, but he didn't have any children. But in a certain sense, he was a deadbeat dad. I like to point that out to people whenever I get a chance. Walt Whitman, you're American poet, deadbeat dad. Oh God!
If those children are going to collect some kind of reparations for the lies they've been told.
Yeah, right. If poets swallow that motherfucker up, he was such a lying hypocrite.
They get the poet dollar. They get the half coin. The half penny or something.
Yeah. I have a theory that's really inflammatory. That he suffered from the disease. Well, not the disease, but the whatever you want to call it. That's anyway. It's a sexual. The sexual. There's a term for it, an obvious term. But anyway, he loved amputees, and there are a certain number of people in the population that love amputees. So the reason he went and he nursed soldiers who were wounded during the Civil War was so he could be around amputated people all the time because it got him off. That's a very controversial position to take. But that's the only thing reason I can come up for the fact that he talks about kissing them on the lips and that sort of thing, and this gets so deeply into the talking about their amputations. So
I hear Liz Truss resigned.
Got it? You got it on?
Yeah, I was just saying. I heard Liz Truss resigned.
Oh, Liz Truss resigned.
Just like Mercurius.
Oh, no. And there's all my comedy for the week. She was funnier than Boris Johnson. She was funnier than Bojo the Clown.
Here we go.
The training MAGA communism.
Oh no, Sam Cedar.
Okay, buddy, let's see the demonstration. Why don't you go to Maga or Republican rallies and try to convince the people who attend these events that communism is good on camera? I would love to see how it goes. The Maga communism thing has to be the funniest fucking thing yet to develop in the past hoax. Imagine any of them saying Maga communism to an actual Trump supporter. Like hello, they'll be treated like fucking freaks. Which I mean, they are.
People on Twitter and people all over social media clearly have a wrong view about MAGA people and the Trump constituency. So let's get right into it. So I've got to ask you, because the media has been saying this, so are you a hateful, fascist, racist bigot?
No, sir.
Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? Because see,
they all say that I am I'm an enemy of the country. I am not. I am loving. I'm honest.
And that's the atmosphere that's the only atmosphere we get here, is that it's such a loving.
Well, we've been here all day.
Recently we saw a railroad strike. I don't know if you heard of it. They used the power to come together to stop. That's an immense level of power that hasn't been tapped into yet.
It should happen. I've said this for many, many years. This country is on the path to another revolution. We walked away from King George because of taxes, right? Where are our taxes right now?
So imagine, to stop this agenda they're pushing, if the MAGA people and the railway workers united to, bring the government back to the people.
That would be great if everybody could get together and get on the same page.
What if the railway strikers came together with the MAGA people to stop this agenda, to stop the Green New Deal, and to stop the Wall Street and the City of London ruling class from imposing their Great Reset on us?
Well, that needs to happen no matter what.
So the working class needs to come together, use their power, just like the railway strikers. And when
got the power, that's right.
The American country.
That's right. We're the 99%. And all we have to do is stand up, and it's game over for the 1%. Exactly. That's right.
It seems like our government has become completely controlled by this minority of Wall Street and City of London globalists. What do you think about a government by, for, and of the American working class instead?
I'm all for the people.
Do you feel like our government is owned by big business?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Don't you think that they're screwing over the little guy and they're screwing over the working class to help Wall Street and help the big bankers?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's establishment, there's, people in power that are, trying to set things up for themselves, and none of it's working out for us.
So people need to rise up. But the other thing people need to do is we need to work on campaign finance reform. We can't have these big corporations putting in all these dollars into the campaigns because these politicians will listen to their big donors. So we need campaign finance reform as well as term limitations. But if you don't do campaign finance reform, term limitations is going to be a moot point because the big corporations will just rent those seats and keep putting their people in.
You're speaking to a man that's got Democrat votes from the 70s, drop forwards.
So the
years, the independent heart, when they brought in NAFTA, you talk about the working man. When they brought that in, that's when I jumped on the parole bandwagon. Well, now it happens to be Clinton brought NAFTA in anyway. Now it happens to be Trump is sporting the same sign in my truck, hire American, buy American. Okay, I did the same thing in the 70s, and I was a Democrat.
We need
so things have flip-flopped, that's all.
The Democrats and the left have betrayed the working class.
So have the Republicans that go to the left. It's
the rhinos.
How do you look at America? Is it a two-party system, a three-party system?
Seems like a one-party system to me.
It does.
What do you think about the need for Americans to have a government by, for, and of the working class?
It was our whole foundation from the beginning. That's what it was intended to be.
Don't you think our economy should serve the purpose of building instead of just profits?
Absolutely, absolutely.
These banks have everyone. We've got truckers in debt. They can't even.
All they want is a filthy rich and filthy poor.
Oh, they're just trying to burn the country down. That's my take on it. If they can divide it and burn it down, then, the few people that have the well-to-do ones, they'll be just fine. But it's all the other little people in the world that'll lose everything.
The Democrats are always saying that they're out here to fight against. But the Democrats are the ones who are controlled by big money and the big bankers. And why do you think that is?
This is
well, I think as the big bankers and the Hollywood liberal types,
stupid platitudes,
perks from the Democrat Party. Now, our gubernatorial candidate, Tudor Dixon, is being outspent almost 10-1. I mean, Gretchen Whitmore's got about $15 million on the bank, and Tudor right now has got about $4 million. So, and it's the same across the line. So we're getting a lot of outside money from big bankers and Hollywood because they are getting the perks from the far left liberal part of the party, of their party, the Democrat Party.
We need a government by, for, and of the American working class that promotes common prosperity, not the interests of the.
Get the idea. It's about a 20-minute video. You can unmute. I think we got Carlo. yeah, he
Carlo.
He got mad. I was gonna play it for about 5 or 10 minutes and then just let it sit because then it's like a 23-minute video of those kind of questions and answers.
Yeah, I mean, so again, no working class person is going to be opposed to saying, hey, let's have a government of, by, and for the people that is interested in furthering the economic interests of the vast majority instead of the economic interests of the, financial elite. So that's the broad-based appeal, which, communists and, Marxists ought to use to appeal to the MAGA crowd. So to me, there's no way forward without doing that. Like that's the only avenue, that's the only path to overcome this capitalist dictatorship, which is how I describe our ruling class.
Carlos back, and we're gonna take a brief break.
I was listening to that piece of shit. First of all, he doesn't say he's a communist anywhere to anybody. He doesn't hand down any communist literature. These people are full of idiotic platitudes, just proving my point that they're total idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Jesus Christ.
A brief break, but we'll be right back. Thanks, Carlo. America Open Market. AO Market. The best digital market for humanity is a free, multilingual, borderless market open to international sellers with various languages included. With America Open Market, you may start selling in minutes after filling out the form. Comprehensive dashboard where you understand your sales, orders, and customers is available. You get paid directly, securely, and instantly on the America Open Market. You can sell your house, car, electronic laptop, CD player, boombox, phone, headphones, furniture, and clothing, and anything on AmericaOpenMarket.com where all your sales and customer needs are met. Register as a merchant today. You will not regret becoming a vendor at America Open Market. For further inquiries, contact us at aomarket@gmail.com. AO Market, best digital marketplace for humanity. Welcome back to the Foreign Policy Review, and we're discussing Marx meets MAGA, and that email address for America Open Market is aomarket21@gmail.com. I just want to point that out. We had a mistake in the production there, but let's get back to our discussion, and let's see what's Carlos.
You want to talk? Listen, you want to talk about media? There wasn't one thing that those assholes on that piece of tape said that they didn't get from big money media. Fox News, Breitbart, Alex Jones, Sean Hannity.
It's a strange contradiction. It is, isn't it?
Name it. It's all big money media. Every piece of shit they spouted just puts more money in the pocket of the very people they say they're criticizing. They're idiots. And I'll tell you something else. Haas is an idiot. All he did was lead these people on to say things that he knew that they would say. All they did was babble on with that. They would, if you could have had anybody there with that microphone.
What the point is, though, is that there's a similar goal or a similar underlying want from the American people that is not being met, and whether they're espousing stupid ideas from the media or not, I think we all kind of want sort of like more prosperity for the people instead of so much for the corporations and their power structure that they put in place. That it's really hard to kind of not do without them completely. You know, it's like hard to separate from the mass production that's going on.
This is the fun of a live broadcast. So unfortunately we didn't have our expert, so he's having trouble.
In all fairness to the guy, he really didn't have anything interesting to say.
So what we're gonna do?
Couldn't make it. Because I don't like to tear people down like that all the time. Yeah. But if you keep having these clowns on, that's what's going to happen.
We're gonna do a Zoom. I'm gonna send him a Zoom link at the end of the hour. So I'll be uploading my conversation with him via Zoom. All the places I've advertised this show that he was going to be on this show. So we're gonna do a Zoom discussion at the end of this show, and then I'll just upload that to the various places. Twitter and Facebook.
You can probably
but yeah, so it's technical difficulties in Cuba. There's probably all kinds of they probably don't have the fastest bandwidth, and then there might be some censorship stuff. So who knows what kind of trouble he's engaged in? But he's done Zoom before. If I send him a Zoom link, he says he'll be able to do it. So I'll post that. And Carlo, you're welcome to join us. Dustin, you're welcome to join us. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I want to definitely, have a discussion with him and then share his thoughts, in the places that I've advertised this show where I misled people to make them think he was going to be here and he's not, but that's, outside of our control. So yeah, no, I mean,
the concept of grassroots, I mean, you're saying MAGA is sort of a grassroots movement, but as we've sort of demonstrated and Carlos pointed out, a lot of what the MAGA people believe is upper echelon. It's like a lot of this stuff is pretty common ground that's being spoused from the upper classes that, like we talked about, the Democrats are running this communism against us, and the communism is some sort of fearful totalitarian ideal, and so forth. So, I mean, how do you come about reaching people at a grassroots level? And why do you think it's a grassroots, that MAGA is grassroots?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's one of the pillars of MAGA communism that MAGA is grassroots. It's just, definitely the MAGA supporters of Trump are working class. There are working class supporters of Trump.
Not many. They're mostly upper. It's shown. Data shown they're mostly upper middle class, Republican oriented people. They're not. They own stocks. I think it's 80% own stocks. That's not working class.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something else. An AR-15, like those guys sitting in the trees, that costs $1,500. You own 10, 20 guns. You've already invested $10,000 or $20,000 into guns. That's not working class, destitute people, as far as I understand them.
But everybody seemed to be agreeing that the establishment does not run the country in the interest of the vast majority of the people, and I think that's true, right? So when MAGA folks, have that same concern and complaint that our country is being run by, of, and for an elite financial small group of people, I think it would resonate with them to say, hey, wouldn't you like to have a government of, by, and for the people that prioritizes first the interests of the vast majority over the interest of the wealthy elite? I think that resonates with people.
Oh, yes, the 1%, the Jews. Yes, now you're talking about the Jews. Yes, and when you talk about the Jews, you're talking about people that help the blacks, and then you're just talking racism here when you talk about the 1% with those people. That's just racism.
That might be an interesting discussion.
It's racism. It's flat out racism. That's the part that's missed. That's what's driving these people, racism. That's what's driving Haas. The guy's a racist. Yeah. I didn't see one black person on that tape, though I didn't watch the whole thing, because for Christ's sake, it was stupid. The questions were stupid little setups. You got cliche answers that they were fed by Sean Hannity. It was idiotic. Not one word. Not one word. I didn't hear Marxist mentioned once.
Well, he necessarily don't have to mention explicitly, but I think he basically hit the ground level ideas of a working class movement to rebuild the country. And
those are ideas. Yeah. You consider those ideas? I mean,
that's essentially Marxism.
You've read Hegel. You've read Husserl. You know what ideas are really like. Those are not ideas.
Well, those are more
attitudes they got from some media corporation, from giant media corporation. That's all those were. And there's no way to actually affect those. None whatsoever. Oh yes, if the 99% of us stand up, then the people have to stand. The rich people will have to stand down. We'll keep. No, you won't. If you actually stood up, they'd wipe your ass out. They'd kill you if you actually stood up. If you actually had the balls to do it, you would be dead. The fact that you don't have the balls is the only reason you're alive. And the fact that you actually are on their side because you want your taxes reduced. You want your neighborhood to be all white. You want your country to be all Christian. Then, yes, that's you're playing right into their hands. So they don't even have to worry about you dumb fucks. They can feed you any goddamn thing they want.
Carlo, are there any decent people that support Trump, or are they all racist Nazis?
They're all racist Nazis.
Okay.
All of them. Yes.
All right.
Let's be clear about that. If you're stupid enough to support this guy who is basically a two-bit hustler who has nothing to do. Here you got Rosalie read me a thing about today. Some thing came in.
So I mean that's the problem.
God loves Trump. God doesn't love Trump. Trump is like he's bound for hell. The guy just was deposed for raping a woman.
So I know people. I know people that are good.
Deposed for raping a woman. Answer that.
There's a lot of good people that support Trump. They support
rapists.
And I can't.
How can they be good if they support rapists?
All right. Yeah, no, we'll have to agree to disagree, Carlo. And I mean, I think
people. They're delusional idiots.
It's self-defeating to write off everybody.
Have just as many. Russiagate. Jesus Christ, another delusion. It's just it's kind of at a different kind of, I don't want to say different level. It's a different kind of delusion, but nonetheless it's a delusion. It's a desire. It's a compulsion they want to have, that they want to have satisfied. And so the media satisfies those compulsions. And that's where it ends. That's where it ends. That's where it ends with MAGA. That's where it ends with the Russiagate people having their desires, their notions of what the world should be like, their delusions satisfied, gratified. It's a sexual thing. It's getting humped. It's getting their asses fucked. That's all they care about. Having their pseudo-intellectual asses fucked. It's nothing beyond that. Jesus.
Never let it be said that Carlo is not
You could go to any country in the world, and that's what people will tell you. When I was in Moscow, they got it. They understood what Americans were like. They understood. As long as they got their asses weaned, they were fine. As long as they had their material goods, they were fine. That's pretty much where it ends. It doesn't go beyond that. So you gotta,
For viewers have any comments or questions they'd like to throw at us, feel free in the comments.
Yeah, throw some questions at us, for Christ's sake.
Let's have some comments from people.
I'm gonna probably. I mean, yeah, we're almost 50 minutes in, so I think we could probably wrap it up. I mean, I'm not sure, unless we want to change topics. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure.
Anybody want to talk about Truss's resignation? What that means to Britain?
Let me talk about Scott Ritter's book.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, I'm almost finished with Scott Ritter's book. I recommend it for anyone else that has Jones on for INF treaties and how difficult they are to implement. This book goes into great detail about the Gorbachev era INF. It accurately points out that Gorbachev and Yeltsin didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They were ripped off by the West. Maybe Scott doesn't completely agree with that assessment, but that's one of the things I garnered from it. I recommend it for anybody. At least, look, if you've enjoyed Scott Ritter's commentary, and it's been extremely helpful and extremely important concerning Ukraine, you want to do him a favor. You want to keep his family, in potatoes and asparagus or whatever they eat. Buy this fucking book. Spend your money on this book. It's a little expensive. Cost me $40. I don't care. I love everything Scott's done for the world and world peace. And I think that if you could come up with 40 extra bucks, you should buy this book just out of reverence for what the man has done for every one of us, and try to lift us into an era of truth when here in this media from left to right it's just wall-to-wall lies from every member of Congress, from the supposed progressives to the Nazi-loving, Hitlerite, fascist-loving, Ukrainian Nazi-loving fucks. You should buy this book and help Scott Ritter out. And on top of that, you'll be getting a good read. He's an excellent writer, and he's done an excellent job here.
What's the page count there on that for $40? What's the page count on that? What's the page count on it for $40?
344, 343.
Lots of information there.
Yeah.
So yeah, pick up a copy.
It's thorough. And Scott's
if you're interested, watch some of our programs with Scott Ritter talking about Ukraine and Russia and in the West and so forth. Go back and look at those, and definitely take a look and leave some comments for us. Those were really popular programs. We were glad to have him on. We'll have him on again in the future. So that was really fun to have him.
Yeah, very generous with his time. So let's be generous with our money and buy his book. That's what I say.
Yeah, I can't agree more.
So do you want any more topics of discussion for the next 10 minutes? It's kind of hard to cut into the program.
What are we going to do now that Liz Truss is gone?
Who do you?
That's the
Who's
fourth.
going to succeed her?
Last 6 years? I think that's the fourth one. I think that's the fourth prime minister to resign in the last 6 years. Yeah,
the Tories have really got their act together, don't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we think is going to come behind her? Who's going to be the next prime minister?
I don't know.
You think it'll go Labor? Doubt it.
No,
can't go
think
Labor.
so.
I don't know.
I think Mercurius was he was spot on, right? He was predicting this. He saw this happening a couple weeks ago, and he knows who the successor is going to be. I forget who he identified, but yeah, he was all over this story. Good for him for seeing the writing on the wall at least 2 weeks ago before anybody was even talking about it.
This is McCorris.
Yeah.
He was right on top of it. Yeah.
Of course, he has the advantage because I guess he lives there. So
he lives there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. I just I'll put it out there again. Anybody want to go? I'll even do it with Haas. I'll even do it with that fucking maniac. So anybody wants to fucking put a table up, and I'm serious. Don't not this Haas shit he did with these people. Let's let people know. Let's be honest.
Right.
Let's be
Go
honest.
in there and hand them what can be done. I believe that's the name of one of Lenin's pamphlets.
There you go.
You just pass that out and say, "What do you guys think of this?" Here's a couple of quotes.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. What we should do a show and have that as a live event.
We should do it at Michael Flynn's speeches.
Oh hell yeah! We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
We'll probably get tossed pretty quick.
Get bruised up pretty bad, buddy.
Mob will come after us. Just an announcement. We're going to come after you, MAGA people, pretty soon.
So nobody wants to join my discussion?
I'd be happy to see what we could come of that. I'll be on if you want me to be on.
I don't know.
The Zoom. Send me the Zoom link. I think I have a little extra time.
Okay. I mean, the more the merrier. So I started a Zoom video and I've sent him an invite, but I can only have one video going at a time. So let me log off here.
All right.
I'll be on. I'll listen to what he says.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I'll join in.
So I'll send you guys in Facebook Messenger. I'll send you the link, just like I sent him, and then we can upload it. But anyway, I might have to mute you, Carlo.
I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, this was an interesting experience in live broadcasting. So we all learned a lot. We'll try harder next time. But yeah, I'm gonna upload our Zoom. What's that?
I think we had a good show overall.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
all right.
Wasn't loud enough.
Okay, I'm gonna log out. I'll send you guys the link.
All right. See you, Billy Bob. So I'm going to go ahead and close the show today. And we had an excellent discussion of MAGA and Marx. So if you go back and watch that show from the beginning, it was rather contentious and hot in the spirit of Carlo. He had his bell there, alarm button. So just go back and watch that again and see what some of the thoughts presented, and watch some of Parrot TV's other programming like World Inkers Network and the Bronx Politics and Financial Focus University and all the other shows on Parrot TV. Thanks for joining us today. And remember to subscribe to our channel and have an excellent day. I hope you guys out there do some outrageous things and get some spirit of protest. So please have a great, excellent afternoon and do what you do best. Godspeed.